There are many good strategies in BTD6. Trust me, I would know. But some are more known than others. And today we'll be going over some of the lesser known ones that I think should get a bit more of a spotlight. So let's get started with the underrated strategies of BTD6. So let's get started with a tower that a lot of new players seem to not like for whatever reason, probably because it's a bit ability based, but it's still really good regardless. The SAR Bomba. The SAR Bomba is the tier 5 on the middle path of the Monkey Ace, and it costs just about $53,000 total on hard mode. This price tag may initially seem like a big downside, but in reality, Ground Zero is one of the best save-ups in the game, so it's not that bad. The main perk of the SAR Bomba is that it can deal 3,000 layer-soaking damage to every balloon or Moab on screen at just the press of a button. This 3,000 damage is enough to one-shot everything except ZOMGs, fortified ZOMGs, and BADs. But it only takes 2 nukes to kill ZOMGs, and a lot to kill fortified ZOMGs, but that doesn't really matter, because you don't see them too often. The SAR Bomba also tends to do very good against DDTs, because it just completely one-shots them, so you won't have to worry about those anymore, which is nice because they're usually one of the hardest parts in any run. The SAR Bomba is best used with mid-game strategies that allow you to stall back the ability cooldown, like a MAME Moab, or other stallers similar to that. But if for whatever reason you can't do a mid-game strategy that involves stalling, it is best to use a Moab shove to stall a single BFB for a very long time to get the ability cooldown back. And having that ability up is very important because it's really bad without it. Like, really bad. Almost useless. A great tower to pair with the SAR Bomba is the Moab Eliminator because it can deal very good ZOMG damage, allowing the SAR Bomba to just nuke everything in one ability. And it does very good versus around 100, where the SAR Bomba also doesn't do the best. But if you don't want your SAR Bomba to be your main damage dealer in a run, you can pair it with other strong mid-game towers that transition well into the late game, like a Prince of Darkness and other towers similar to that. Some heroes that the SAR Bomba pairs well with are heroes like Brickle, Sai, and Sada, or other heroes who have strong nuking abilities, like Corvus. Overall, the SAR Bomba is an incredibly versatile tower that many people completely overlook. It has a lot of strength, and its weaknesses are fairly easily avoidable. Let's move on to the next strategy. This next strategy is so underused that I've seen like 3 people total use it ever. And it's a really good strategy, so I'd like to share it here. The strategy is Solver and Impale. These 2 towers have an incredibly good synergy with each other, considering that one of them is a very good slow, and one of them is a very good damage over time plus cleanup. Impale mostly struggles with cleanup, and that's what Solver excels at. And Solver struggles with ZOMGs and DDTs, and that's Impale's main strength. So it's really a perfect combo. There are only 2 real problems with this strategy that I've found, and they're the mid-game save-up and the existence of round 100. The mid-game save-up is only really an issue because both towers do just about nothing to Moabs before their tier 5s, which is kind of annoying, but can be solved pretty easily by using just anything that's good versus Moabs in the mid-game, like an Alk-buffed MAME Moab or an Alk-buffed Spiked Mines. Both these are great options because they transition pretty well into the late game and are just nice additions to the setup. But once you've gotten past the mid-game save-up and you've afforded one of the tier 5s, the rest of the game gets so much easier, as just having one of the tier 5s can build into the other tier 5 very easily, and once you have both of them, all you need to beat the game is a way to kill round 100, like a Moab Eliminator, which pairs great with this setup, and a Moab Press or 2, depending on the map. You might also want to buy a Monkey Intelligence Bureau if your Impale is the middle cross path, which is usually the better one. And you can usually end up with around $30,000 unspent, which is very nice, as that allows you to do basically anything. The best hero to pair with this strategy is definitely Azili, but other heroes work as well. The main reason that you'd want to use Azili with this strategy is that she absolutely decimates round 100 with her level 20 Hex, which is usually affordable for around $15,000 by round 100 on expert maps. Might not work on lower difficulty maps though, and that she has great Moab damage in the mid-game with Hex. Overall, Impale Solver is an incredible strategy that doesn't have too many weaknesses, and the few weaknesses that it does have are very easy to work around. It can work on a variety of maps and on a variety of difficulties, so that helps too. Anyways, let's move on to our third strategy. This strategy has recently been beaten into the ground by YouTubers like iSab and HBomb, so it might not be considered underrated anymore, but all of these big YouTubers miss a few very important things with this strategy, and I'm going to try and correct those mistakes today. If it isn't obvious enough already, this strategy is the Grand Saboteur paired with Geraldo's hot sauce on Shinobi Ninjas. This strategy revolves around the Grand Sabot ability, where the ability for some reason buffs Shinobi Ninjas, and for some reason this buff gets transferred over to the Geraldo hot sauce that is applied on the Shinobi Ninjas. This gets pretty broken pretty quickly when you get 20 Shinobi Ninjas and 6 hot sauces at once, which is possible in the late game due to Geraldo's refresh. The best way to save up to the Grand Saboteur, even though it's only a save up of about 23k, is 2 Bloonjitsus. Not 1, 2 Bloonjitsus. 2 Bloonjitsus and about 16 Shinobis is usually all you need to save up to the Grand Sabot, and all you need to win the rest of the game. And make sure all of the Shinobis are double discounted. That is very important. You need to save a lot of money here just for the strategy to work as good as it does, and double discounting lets you do that. The early game for the setup is usually very easy because you literally are using ninjas. Ninjas have some of the best early games in the game. Like, Double Shot is already one of the best early games in the game, and getting 2 of them because you're getting 2 Bloonjitsus is usually a good strat. And you can usually get a Geraldo buffed Bloonjitsu for around 40, and that usually just works. The main strategy for the mid-game is abusing the heck out of Geraldo's shop, stacking Shinobis until you get about 16, preferably all under double discount as I said earlier, and 2 Bloonjitsus. These Bloonjitsus are actually better off not alch buffed, which is somewhat surprising to most people because, of course, you alch buff a Bloonjitsu. But here it's not the best idea as the strategy takes up a lot of space and you need to save a lot of space. And also, once you've stacked all of the Shinobis, the alch buff doesn't even do that much anyway, so it's not really worth it. In the mid-game, you're going to want to be using your hot sauces on exclusively your Bloonjitsus, as you don't have the Grand Saboteur yet, or enough Shinobis to where it's worth putting them on Shinobis. Once you've afforded the Grand Saboteur, what you're going to want to do is to get Seeking on all of your ninjas for increased range so they can buff more ninjas. Surprisingly, the Seeking part isn't actually that useful, it's mostly just the range. We want the range. But once you've done that, the best thing is usually to try and save your Geraldo chilies until right before Geraldo restocks, and if you've timed this well, on expert maps you can get him to restock on round 91, which is optimal for this strategy, and can allow you to have 6 chilies for the entire late game. This strategy will definitely leave you with a lot of money spare, so some good towers to pair with this strategy are a Call to Arms, or things like a Glue Storm. These towers work pretty well because they allow things that aren't just exclusively the chilies to pop DDTs, and that helps. And the damage buff is also quite nice, as these things don't do too much damage per hit, but they rely on very fast attack speed. Make sure to use as many Geraldo items as you see fit, because you have a lot of money and you don't need to think about round 100 because this strategy absolutely destroys it. Overall, this strategy is incredibly strong at all parts of the game and can allow you to get some very easy black borders on almost any map. It's ridiculous. Anyways, that was the final strategy. I hope you learned something from this video. Have a nice rest of your day, and goodbye.